Hi, my name is Tyler Gatliff. I am in Geography 120, and for assignment 4, I decided to do Guatemala. Guatemala is a very diverse country when it comes to agricultural production. And let's say you compare it to Ukraine, for example. Ukraine mainly specializes in wheat production, and because of that, they also produce the I want to say the majority of the world's wheat. And although Guatemala doesn't produce the majority of the world's bananas, they are on the top of lists regarding a lot of crops that are mainly tropical, such as, bananas, and they also do pretty good in corn and things like that. And so I thought it was a pretty interesting country to choose, because of that factor. And so, yeah. So, crops. Their most grown is corn or maize, sugarcane, bananas, and palm oil. And their most consumed is, once again, corn, and then beans, rice, and potatoes. And so, fun facts about corn. Corn takes up around 40% of all the land used for agriculture. But despite that, bananas are the most exported crop, making around $1.5 billion annually for the country, which is pretty insane to think about, just how kind of inefficient it is to plant corn. But despite that, corn is corn is still their most consumed crop, which because of that, it is it is in different cultural foods, such as tortillas or tamales. As we all know, Guatemalan culture is very similar to Mexican culture, and what we know about Mexican food is that basically everything includes some sort of tortilla or a tamale or something like that. Those are made with corn, and because of that, it is their most consumed crop. Makes total sense. So their agricultural importance. Agriculture is by far the most important economic sector. With, as you can see in this graph, the top 4 spots, bananas, coffee, palm oil, and raw sugar, are the top 4 biggest exports in Guatemala. And even their 5th export, knit sweaters, you can also say that is slightly an agricultural output because the cotton used in knit sweaters is mainly sourced from Guatemalan cotton farms. I think that's pretty kind of insane to think about how much they kind of focus into agriculture. And so because of this, their dependency on crops is very high. And the government recognizes this, and because of this, they try to protect their agricultural sector as much as they can. And so they also provide incentives for people to, not only stay in agricultural jobs, but also to bring more people in, which keeps production levels high. And lastly, their most consumed crops all tend to be grown in Guatemala besides rice. And with rice, they get the majority of theirs from the United States, about 70%, which I think it's kind of crazy and kind of says something about their culture that these guys love their rice. And because of that, even though they don't have the right environment to grow it, they still import a lot of it. So, issues. So the main issue with agriculture causes is deforestation. And as you can see in this map here, it is quite a heavy burden on the environment. And they're not like other countries because they aren't industrialized. So therefore, they don't really have to deal with carbon emissions and things like that. The next issue is their caloric intake, which sits around 2,500 calories, which is about 500 calories above, what you need. But it's also important to realize that this is just an average. And so there's still people that are sitting under that 2,000 mark that brings it down a lot. Because of this, chronic malnutrition is still a major problem within the country. And then, although child labor is being combated, it is a major issue within agriculture. And this is mainly because you can see that kids are kind of seen as assets. And so families in agriculture, they tend to have kids, just to put them into their family farms. And what for them, it's like free labor. And so because of that, it is a huge issue. And here's my works cited. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great